In 2025, President Trump's second term unleashed a dramatic shift in global trade, a sweeping 10% tariff on all imports, shaking markets and alliances worldwide. This wasn't just a repeat of his first-term policies, it was a bold escalation, with threats of tariffs up to 60% for countries deemed unfriendly or uncooperative. The administration's message was clear: the US would rewrite global trade rules to its advantage, sidelining old agreements and even close allies. In April, Trump announced the tariffs with a 3-month grace period, pressuring nations to negotiate new bilateral deals or face steep penalties by July. This transformed trade talks into high-stakes standoffs, with Washington dictating terms and little room for compromise. The policy marked a sharp break from decades of free trade and multilateralism, replacing them with a transactional, America-first approach. By July, Trump threatened an extra 10% tariff on any country, aligning with the BRICS Bloc, tying trade policy directly to geopolitical loyalty. The new tariffs were set for August, making the summer of 2025 a pivotal moment for the global economy. The world was forced to adapt to a new era, one where US economic power was wielded as both shield and sword. Japan, long America's closest Asian ally, found itself in the crosshairs of Trump's protectionist agenda. Despite decades of partnership, Japan faced the same tariff threats as rivals, with a 15% duty on exports and the risk of even higher penalties. For Japan's export-driven economy, especially its auto and tech sectors, these tariffs posed a direct threat to prosperity. Washington's demands went beyond trade. Japan was pressured to invest massively in US manufacturing and infrastructure, effectively subsidizing the American economy. The relationship shifted from partnership to what many in Tokyo saw as economic blackmail. Public outrage erupted, and the Japanese government was thrown into crisis, questioning the reliability of the US as an ally. The pressure sparked political instability and a search for alternatives, as Japan's leaders faced a stark new reality. The foundation of the US-Japan alliance was shaken, forcing Tokyo to reconsider its future. For the first time in generations, Japan openly questioned whether America could be trusted. The search for new partners and strategies had begun. Under relentless US pressure, Japan agreed to a staggering $550 billion investment in the American economy by 2029. A deal widely seen as humiliating. The US gained full control over how the money would be spent, with Japan receiving only a token share of the returns. This one-sided arrangement sparked outrage in Japan, leading to the resignation of Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba. The deal exposed deep vulnerabilities in the alliance and left Japan locked into a perpetual threat of renewed tariffs. Even after the concession, Trump warned that any deviation would trigger punitive duties. The alliance now felt less like a partnership and more like an economic straitjacket. For many Japanese, the era of unquestioned trust in America was over. The search for a more balanced future had become urgent. As the US turned inward, the BRICS Bloc, now expanded to include Saudi Arabia, Iran, Egypt, and others, emerged as a powerful alternative. Once dismissed as a loose coalition, BRICS now represents over half the world's population and 41% of the global economy, directly challenging the G7. The group's mission: build a multipolar world and reduce dependence on the US dollar. BRICS nations are developing their own payment systems and encouraging trade in national currencies, bypassing US financial control. At their 2025 summit, BRICS leaders condemned US tariffs as a threat to global stability and a violation of WTO rules. The bloc's growing economic clout and anti-coercion agenda make it an attractive option for countries under US pressure. For nations like Japan, BRICS offers a potential escape from American dominance. The world's economic center of gravity is shifting. The stage is set for a new era of global competition. America's hardline tactics and the rise of BRICS are forcing Japan to rethink its entire strategy. The humiliating US deal and constant tariff threats have shattered trust, pushing Japanese leaders to consider options once unthinkable. BRICS offers vast markets and new technological partnerships, providing a vital alternative as US protectionism grows. The bloc's push for de-dollarization is especially appealing, promising relief from US financial leverage. By trading in national currencies or BRIC systems, Japan could regain economic sovereignty and reduce vulnerability to sanctions. Yet, shifting away from the US is fraught with risk. Japan's security still depends on its American alliance. The Trump administration's actions, however, are making diversification increasingly necessary. Japan faces a stark choice: remain subservient to US demands or pivot toward a multipolar world. The search for new partners is no longer theoretical, it's a matter of survival. Japan's gaze is turning eastward, more focused than ever. Trump's aggressive policies are accelerating a global split, the US and its pressured allies on one side, the BRICS-led multipolar bloc on the other. America's allies are being asked to subsidize US industry and accept tariffs, transforming partnerships into hierarchical, extractive relationships. In contrast, BRICS offers cooperation based on mutual respect and non-interference, appealing to nations tired of US dominance. For Japan, recently forced into a lopsided deal, the BRICS model is increasingly attractive. The world is being pulled apart, with countries forced to choose between US control and BRICS-led autonomy. Trump's threat of extra tariffs for BRICS alignment has turned a gradual drift into a direct ultimatum. The old alliance system is fracturing and the global economic map is being redrawn. Each nation must now decide where its future lies. The stakes have never been higher. Japan's ordeal is part of a wider pattern. America's allies everywhere are under pressure. South Korea faces tariffs and public humiliation, despite major investments in the US. The EU, after tense negotiations, accepted a 15% tariff and committed to $600 billion in US investments and massive energy purchases. Even Canada and Southeast Asian partners have been strong-armed into one-sided deals, eroding trust in US leadership. The message is clear: loyalty counts for little in the new America First era. Each coerced deal sends a warning to others: no ally is safe from economic pressure. This shared experience is driving allies to communicate, coordinate, and seek alternatives together. Ironically, US pressure may be uniting its partners in search of an exit. The global alliance system is under unprecedented strain. The events of 2025 mark a turning point. The era of US-led globalization is ending. Trump's tariffs and coercive deals have fractured old alliances and accelerated the rise of a multipolar world. The Japan deal is a symbol of this new era, where economic power trumps partnership and rules. Nations are now racing to diversify, trade-build regional blocs, and reduce dependence on the US. De-dollarization is gaining momentum, threatening a key pillar of American power. The short-term gains for US industry may come at the cost of long-term influence and trust. By alienating allies, Washington is fueling the very multipolar order it sought to prevent. The global economic system is being remade, more contested, more complex, and less American. The consequences of this historic shift will echo for decades to come.